Okay, so that's the process of hearing. Now let's look at the process of balancing. When we talk about balancing, we are basically referring to the brain knowing the position of your head. When you shake your head, when you tilt your head, the brain should be aware of your position, okay, for ensuring stability and things like that. That is what we call balancing. So the information that tells the brain about the position of the head comes from the ear. The inner ear in especially is responsible for the sense of balance. And like I said earlier on, there are three things that you need to mention about when talking about balance. The semicircular canals, and then we talk about the auricle, okay, the auricle, and then the circle. These are very important components of the balancing process. So earlier on, we said that we have three semicircular canals that are oriented at 90 degrees at right angles. We have those that are horizontal, 2 of them, and then one that is vertical. So in these tubes, or in these canals, we have bulges, okay, the bulging structures that we call the ampullae. So within the ampullae, we have hair-like sensory cells, okay, hair-like sensory cells that respond or that generate impulses in case there is any change, there is a rotation of the head. Okay, when there is a rotation of the head, impulses are sent through these hair-like sensory cells in the ampullae of the semicircular canals. Okay, so if these impulses are sent to the brain, and then the brain can interpret this, and then other impulses can be sent to either move the head or to maintain the position of the head. Okay, so that is what happens with the rotational movement. Okay, when you rotate your head, the hair-like sensory cells in the semicircular canals will be stimulated, and then impulses will be sent to the brain, and then the brain will interpret, okay, the direction of the rotational movements. Now the other two components, the reticulus and then the circulus. These are very important. They're actually small sacs. They're also filled with fluids, and within that we have a membrane that has tiny particles that we call the otoliths. The otoliths are embedded within the membrane, okay, just like what you see in the image here. So when you tilt your head downwards, the hair-like, these authoring particles that we have talked about will stimulate the sensory hair-like cells to send impulses to the brain that will also interpret the information about the position of the head relative to gravity. Okay, so we can see that the utriculus and then the circulus are important in tilting movements of the head, resulting into impulses being sent from the hair-like sensory cells to the brain that will make the interpretation. So let's briefly look at the defects of hearing. When someone cannot hear properly, we say that person is having partial deafness. Okay, so this can be caused because of ear infections or any damage to the eardrum. And if it is about infections, these infections can be treated with drugs we call antibiotics. And we can also have man-made devices that we call hearing aids to make sure that the person's hearing can be improved. For those that cannot hear properly in sign language can be used. And then for people who cannot really hear complete deafness or permanent deafness, then the treatment, it is permanent. This would be because the nerve is damaged, and therefore treatment is basically about the person learning sign language, so that the person can be communicated through using sign language. So that marks the end of this presentation, where we have looked at the functions of the ear and the different parts of the ear and their functions. Thank you.